Welcome. This is an account of a community garden that was built from the ground up in a relatively short period of time. Even though the garden is far from complete, we are off to a great start. I'm Colleen Griffin. I'm a registered horticultural therapist practicing in southern Maine, and I love my job. Since 2018, I've been affiliated with Dempsey Center, a cancer support organization. You may recognize the founder, Patrick Dempsey, from the long-running series, Grey's Anatomy. Patrick founded Dempsey Center in 2008 when his mother was battling ovarian cancer. Dempsey Center does not serve only the individual with a cancer diagnosis, but their families and caregivers as well. Services range from counseling and nutrition services to complementary therapies, one of which is horticultural therapy. Dempsey Center is located within the Twin Cities of Lewiston, Auburn, in south central Maine. Auburn is a small city with a long agricultural history. This is Judy Donnelly. She is the Dempsey Center nutritionist and coordinator of all things that happen in the community garden. Produce from the garden is used in Judy's educational cooking classes and nutritional services. When I came on board, the Dempsey Center garden was located on the edge of an industrial park. We tried hard to create therapeutic space, but the industrial vibe was impossible to disguise. Regardless, I did conduct therapeutic horticulture sessions there. Master gardeners and home garden volunteers are the unsung heroes of the Dempsey Center Community Garden. They are the workforce that makes the garden a success, and they are involved from seed to harvest. Just before the growing season began in 2020, the landowner announced plans to develop the lot where the garden was located. Dempsey Center was asked to move on. This created a lot of anxiety. How do you move a community garden? It was our good fortune when the Auburn YMCA stepped forward and offered to help. At first, the offer seemed doubtful, as the YMCA building has very little green space around it. What we came to realize is that a few years ago, the YMCA had acquired a large lot of land just on the other side of the city. The Outdoor Learning and Education Center, or OLEC, is where the Y operates summer camps for grades 2 through 8. But OLEC is much more than just a summer camp location. It is 100 acres of pristine woodlands and open fields with a babbling brook running through it. There is a nature trail system that is truly beautiful. 2 of those trails are intentionally designed to be wheelchair accessible, and wildlife is everywhere. There are several meeting rooms that are used not only by campers, but by corporate groups. Recently, a local VA center began using this area for group sessions, now that COVID has restricted their indoor spaces. This is one of the outdoor classrooms, again used by campers, but also by local elementary schools and outing clubs. The babbling brook is only 12 to 14 inches deep at most, and makes a perfect place to explore aquatic life. A large athletic field is on the south end of the property. Just a short hike beyond are 2 outdoor meditation rooms. Yoga classes and mindfulness retreats are held there. Therapeutic support was at the core of design for all the trails, classrooms, meeting areas, and meditation rooms. The designer and creator of this impressive outdoor space is the land steward for OLEC. His name is Will. He is a professional trail designer, a registered Maine guide, and has a history of working with victims of childhood trauma. Will states clearly his intention for the design of OLEC was to remove the barriers of accessibility to nature, regardless of disability or socioeconomic status. Although Dempsey Center had several areas to choose from, we chose an area close to the entrance. Judy from Dempsey Center came to me and asked if I would design a garden to fit that space. I gladly accepted this challenge, but inquired if I could add therapeutic space for horticultural therapy sessions. To my delight, Dempsey Center agreed. I'd like to bring your attention to the upper left corner of the map and to the small green triangle. This area was chosen because it receives adequate amounts of sunlight, has an available water source, and is easily accessible from the parking lot. It's also just steps away from the pavilion. This is where I hold therapeutic horticulture sessions. It is a place where we can get out of the unpredictable Maine weather, yet remain in the open air. I feel very fortunate to have access to the pavilion, especially during this time of COVID. Now, OLEC offers so much to the community, and we were absolutely thrilled to be part of this. But one big problem stood in our way. This is what the garden plot looked like before we began. Overgrown with invasive plants, weeds, and saplings, it was more than overwhelming. The following highlights the development of the Dempsey Center Community Garden, complete with a therapeutic, wheelchair-accessible area. I'm happy to report that many of our goals for 2021 were met, but more work remains. Since these photos were taken, a garden shed has been installed beside the compost station, and our harvest was decent for the first growing season. In 2022, we plan to expand the garden space, add a fence, and create a main entrance. Developing a moral mushroom growing space down near the brook is also in the works. Will, who's at OLEC most every day, tells us that people are using the sensory garden and will respectfully stroll through the raised beds in the production area. By all accounts, the new and improved Dempsey Center Community Garden is off to a fantastic start. Thank you for joining me.